Good evening and welcome to Across the Arts. I'm host Patrick D. McCoy, and I'm so delighted to partner with the Heritage Signature Chorale under the direction of Stanley J. They present their upcoming celebrates Black composers. And among those composers is Dr. Garnet Mowatt. And I'll share a little bit about him before we get to dive in and learn more about this composer who we're lucky to have in our area. Dr. C.L. Mowat is a Jamaican-born musician, educator, conductor, more than 3 decades of distinguished experience in music performance and education. He holds a diploma in music education from the College of the Visual and Performing Arts, as well as the Master of Music and Doctor of Philosophy degrees in choral music education from the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss. He also holds an advanced certificate in performance from the Associated Board of Royal Schools of Music. Additionally, Dr. Mo is with distinguished organists Dr. Mickey Thomas Terry, Joseph Garrison, and Dr. Kissel. He is an active in several professional organizations, the American Quartet Association and the Gospel Music Workshop America, Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia, the organization educators, and the list goes on. He has served his organization and has composed and arranged works for ensembles both nationally. Selected compositions and arranged publications. His recent works include Take My Life, Fix Jesus, Gloria in Excelsis, Ferris, Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus. And finally, Dr. Mowat currently serves as Bishop and Arts at the First Baptist Church of Washington, D.C., chair of the Performing Arts Department, and a master instructor at the Key School in Maryland, an adjunct professor at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and executive director of the Key of G Academy. He has also been an active member of the Heritage Signature Chorale for the last 9 years. Let us please welcome Dr. Garnet. Good evening, Garnet.
Good evening, Patrick. So glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad too because we've seen each other so much musical firmament in DC,
Oh
and
yeah.
we haven't gotten a chance to really dive into this too. And I'm so happy to see that you are being is somewhat celebrated and lifted up. So I just in your bio, I shared that you wear many hats, your church music work. But I want to start here. Talk to
Mhm.
me about how you book. How did you start or have an interest that you wanted to pursue music?
Um, well, that's a very interesting topic because I grew up in a semi-musical family. Sisters playing piano, learning the piano, my mom playing, and I think I can remember at age 4, I just came home. I guess hearing everybody practice in the house, I came home from church one Sunday and just start playing this song, this hymn, bringing in the sheaves.
Oh,
Um, and that was my first. I think I just went on the piano and started playing it. And I remember my mom ran out and she's like, "Who just played that?" And it was me. And since then, it was just like, "Oh, you're going to go to piano lessons." And so that's where the journey started. Um, in addition to that, as a church musician, I was always interested in the organ. And while we didn't have a full organ at our church, at my dad's church, it's an Anglican church, the pipe organ was great. And occasionally when I'd visit church with him, that was my big thing. I went upstairs and I would just sit by the organ because it was just so great. And I mean, fast forward, I, as I started doing formal training, I ended up doing associated board exams, and it went on and on. There was a shift though in high school because music for me was just always, I enjoyed it. It was a hobby. But for me, my passion was really aviation. And so I
Mm.
started doing aviation with music as a just wonderful hobby. And fast forward years while doing the whole aviation thing, I got sick and I was not allowed to do any flying. And so I was like, well, what else am I going to do? And a good friend of mine said, well, you're always playing. Why you don't go into music? And I was like, I don't see myself doing music. That's just fun. And you know what? I ended up with all the research I did. I got a scholarship to University of Mississippi, and I just jumped right in. And that was sort of where everything took me. And it was very interesting because I didn't realize I would enjoy doing this so much. For me, aviation and being a pilot was just it, nothing else. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
And I know that we necessarily talk about this. We think like, how you thought that music was a hobby,
yeah.
is a backup plan, or sometimes people to make it. But in this instance, you really realize that music was really could do. That is amazing. Parents always supportive of more of an artistic career, or would they have wanted you to lean more into the aviation?
Again, my parents, my parents in particular, my mom did not like the idea of aviation. They fought it tooth and nail. Um, and so they were more supportive of me doing the music. And particular, my mom was like, I'll pay for you to do anything else except flying. And so, once I started doing that, I got the full support of my family. Of course, I was still doing aviation on the side, but that was out of my own thing. So,
You moved further into your training. Who were some of, I know I named some of your teachers in your bio who you studied with, maybe Oregon later on. Um, but who were some of those teachers during your formal a lasting impression on you?
well, my first teacher, Mrs. Eileen Francis, who happened to have been my mom's very good friend, and she took me through all the Royal School exams, except when I went to Edna Manley, and I continued studies there with Winston Ewart. But one of my biggest inspiration came from Diane Bish. I'd watched The Joy of Music all the time because I was so interested in the organ. Unfortunately, I didn't have an organ teacher in Jamaica, so I just settled for piano.
Now Diane Bish came here to
Yeah,
DC several years,
it was.
her and all that footwork and the glamour was definitely an excellent role. Move towards your piece, "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." Now, this work is being featured in Signature Chorale's upcoming concert. So, before I even get into that, how did you come to Heritage Signature Chorale and the music director?
Wow. So my good friend James Glover, um, his mom passed, and so I went to the
Yeah.
funeral, and that was the first time I heard Heritage, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been sort of looking for, to be a part of a group that sing. First of all, they sang "Majesty and Glory of Your Name," which is one of my favorite pieces, and I was just sort of blown away with the precision and articulation and the musicality of it. And I was like, oh, I need to get to be a part of this group. And that's how I met Stanley, only to realize that the church that I was playing at, he was the former music director of the church. So it was sort of a big thought.
Wow.
And then a lot of the choir members were in Heritage. So I was like, oh. And so it was a big 360 coming around with Heritage.
So, how does that, you're singing in a choir and you're following a music, and then they tap you your piece. I know there has to be a mountaintop feeling.
It is. It's. I'm very, very grateful to Stanley for even giving the opportunity for the choir to sing this piece. It was a wonderful feeling. I think the last rehearsal that we had, he came to me. He's like, "What do you want to do with the piece?" And I was almost speechless because I was like, "Oh, I still can't believe we're doing this piece." But it's great. I'm excited to hear and see, be a part of Heritage performing this piece. I've It's been done a few times by one of the choirs I work with, Jamaica Youth Chorale and Voices of Excellence. Um, so I'm always thrilled to hear different interpretations of it and to just be among the choir singing this piece. I'm really, 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 truly grateful and thankful to God that He
Still
has
there?
even given
We
me
kind of
the
broke
insight
up.
for it.
Oh,
Oh, I'm still here.
okay, we kind of froze up. So when you wrote this piece, I love such a familiar text. "Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus." Where were you at music arranged this piece?
Um, this was so, as I said to you some time ago during COVID, um, I had gotten a diagnosis with my colon cancer. And so I did an online version of a concert. This was one of the hymns that came to me because that was "Great is Thy Faithfulness" and "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus" are my two favorite hymns. And so I realized I had to lean a lot on God to try and figure out, okay, what's going on? And it just came to me, hey, why don't you do an arrangement of this hymn? And with that, I started thinking about how the text worked for me, and I just put pen to paper and started working. This was maybe the one of the pieces I've done that I've arranged this quickly. Normally it takes a while, but I was able to jump right in, and within about a week and a half, I was done with it. And it really spoke to me, and it I it was just there.
That it came out of COVID. A lot of people think that COVID was so many ways it was, but in a lot of ways, beautiful creativity came out of COVID. And personally feel that we were closer during COVID because the only thing we had Zoom and Facebook Live to really connect. So this beautiful work has come out of that. You know, you have such a testimony when you spoke of your interest in aviation. That was a career path for you. And then you went on with your passion, which is also music. What would you say to, I guess, an aspiring or budding musician who wanted to pursue music as a career?
um, Follow your dream, go at it. If you feel discouraged, keep going. And I'm gonna admit, it's rough, meaning it's a lot of work, and be prepared to do the work. But your reward will be seeing yourself doing what you like. I always say, if you do what you like, you're not working. And
Mm.
I enjoy that every day. Um, it is something that I really do enjoy, just doing music the entire time, because it doesn't feel like work. And so I
That's
tell anybody
amazing.
who's trying to pursue it. If that's your dream, that's your passion, don't turn a blind eye to it. Keep going.
Well, thank you, Garnet. And I'm so happy again that your piece is being. Again, we've been chatting with Dr. Garnet Mowatt, who is a Heritage Signature Chorale, and his piece "So Sweet to Trust in Jesus" will be featured on by the chorale, our heritage, our the artistic legacy, celebrate power, resilience, and artistry of Black composers. And that concert will take place Saturday, February 21st at 6 o'clock at First Congregational United Church of Washington, D.C. Again, this has been Across the Arts. I'm your host, Patrick D. McCoy, and this has been in collaboration with Heritage Signature Chorale's Composer Spot. Thank you so much.